Hello everyone, you are all welcome to lecture number 663, and today's topic of the lecture is the crystallization and structure determination, or we can say elucidation of glycosides. So in previous two lectures I have already discussed how to extract and then how to purify. After the purification, then we have to proceed for its structural elucidation. Before going for structural elucidation, again we have to examine its purity on the basis of crystallization, mixed melting point, and again comparing its RF value with other authentic samples which are known. In case if the glycoside looks like known means already when we are doing the purification, extraction of glycosides, we know the nucleus or the carbon skeleton. For example, here I am discussing the flavonoidal glycosides. So in this case, at least we know that the basic skeleton of this glycoside is benzopyrene nucleus. And we have done the color reaction and phenolic reaction. And for a specific solvent system, we have run the TLC. So all these examinations are very clear indication that what product we are having that in pure form, that is flavonoidal glycoside. So in that case, if suppose it is known, maybe for example you are expecting that it is quercetin glycoside. So if we have the sample of quercetin glycoside authentic, then first we will take the melting point of the unknown one, and then we will note down, for example, if suppose the melting point of unknown glycoside is 205 degrees centigrade without any depression, and then we are mixing the known one, the one which is known, quercetin, and again we are taking melting point, that is called mixed melting point. And again once we are getting the same 205 degrees centigrade temperature sharp melting point, it is very clear indication that the unknown compound, the glycoside which we have purified, is quercetin. But still we have to go for its structure elucidation. So another confirmation is there. One confirmation on the basis of chromatographic examination. Second confirmation on the basis of mixed melting point. Then again with authentic sample, we will compare with unknown glycoside. And if the RF value is the same, RF value means it is simple ratio, and that ratio is, let me make it very clear. RF value means, for example, if you have a glass plate and here line of application, two line of application, one is known and one other one is unknown, and you are running the TLC plate, for example, it is solvent front, and here line of application, for example, distance from here and here is let us say 8 centimeter, and your spot is going here. This is known, means this is quercetin, and this is also unknown. So if both are having this distance from here to here the same, means RF means it is simple ratio, and simple ratio means a distance traveled by solvent divided by compound and divided by solvent. So for example, if suppose this is solvent distance from line of application to, this is called solvent front, is 8 centimeter, and this distance is, for example, 4 centimeter. So distance traveled by compound means it is 4 centimeter. So it will be 4 divided by 8. So now you have to divide 4 by 8. You will get in decimal. Maybe 0.5. And you are not going to write any unit because it's simple ratio, just 0.5. Because most of the students, they commit this mistake. They write centimeter. There is no unit for ratio. So that is called RF value. So once the RF value is well compared, again another confirmation that this glycoside is quercetin. So these three factors are there: mixed melting point, chromatographic examination, and RF value. Now we have to go, because it is glycoside, to know, to identify what type of sugar is linked with this glycoside. Glycoside means it is the combination or condensation of aglycone, non-sugar, and sugar part. We know that aglycone is fleone on the basis of chemical reaction. So glycoside is this, for example, this is your fleone nucleus. So this is your fleone nucleus. This is your aglycone. This you know, and this you know that tentatively, it is not yet 100% confirmed. Tentatively, on the basis of 3 factors, it is quercetin. But still you don't know sugar. What type of sugar is linked to this aglycone, to this fleone nucleus? So the second step is the identification of sugar linkage. What type of sugar is there? So in that case, what we have to do? It is subjected to hydrolysis, and that hydrolysis is known as Killian's hydrolysis. Killian's hydrolysis means the breaking down of the bond will take place here, and there will not be any damage. It is a mild hydrolysis, and it is done in presence of butanol, ethyl alcohol, and water in different ratio. This is called Killian hydrolysis. The one hydrolysis what we are doing, that is simply if we are doing with 7% sulfuric acid. That hydrolysis means the sugar will be separated out and we will get non-sugar, aglycone. And if in case your hydrolysis is not complete with 7% sulfuric acid, it shows that that linkage is not O. I mean only O glycosides, where the sugar is linked with oxygen. If sugar is linked with oxygen, only then it can be hydrolyzed with 7% H2SO4. But if in case sugar is linked with carbon-carbon, carbon of sugar and carbon of this, do you understand? For example, like this. Here it is carbon and another carbon of sugar. Then it is called CC glycoside. In the case of CC glycoside, the hydrolysis will take place with 14% H2SO4. So that is where we are interested to know the aglycone, that is on the basis of hydrolysis, simple hydrolysis, either with 7% H2SO4 or 14% H2SO4. But in case when we are interested to identify the sugars, and the most common linkage of sugars are mainly glucose, ribose, galactose, arabinose, xylose. And out of these 5 sugars, the most common is glucose and ribose. So after doing the Killian hydrolysis, now we will get the sugar in the mixture. and that we will run on paper chromatography. That is descending, and it is run for 24 hours, and we will put the authentic sample of ramenose and glucose and fructose. All those authentic samples, spotting will be done on that paper, and on one side we will put the spot of unknown sugar, and we will run that paper chromatography for 24 hours, because it takes a lot of time to move. And after 24 hours, then we will spray with a suitable reagent, that is a spot detecting reagent, and then we will put in oven for 5 minutes. Once it is dry, then the brown spots will appear. If the spots are well compared with the authentic one, whatever sugar, then on that basis of paper chromatography, we will identify that in this particular flavone glycoside, the sugars are ramenose. For example, if this paper is there and it is run from, it is descending, and here in this road it is hanging, and it is coming in this direction. So here you are putting a spot of unknown sugar, and here you are getting glucose, you are getting ramenose, you are putting xylose. So they are all going, and here is the solvent front. So if suppose here it is, a spot is here, and one spot is here, and one spot is here, and one spot is here. So in that case, on this paper chromatography, which spot is corresponding to which one? So here this one is not corresponding anyone, so it is not, there is no glucose. This xylose is not corresponding, it is not. So these two are well compared. Their RF value is the same. So it shows that the sugar linkage to this flavone molecule is ramenose. On the basis of paper chromatography, it is identified that the sugar is ramenose. Now once it is identified on the basis of paper chromatography, the second step is that we will take IR, superimposable IR. We will get the ramenose authentic sample, and then other one is unknown one, and we will run IR. And both IR, if they are superimposable, it is confirmed that the sugar linkage is ramenose. So sugar structural elucidation is over. Now for A glycone, that is flavone nucleus. For flavone nucleus, as I have already told you, first is it has given the color reaction, phenolic, and that magnesium chips with concentrated hydrochloric acid, it gave deep red color with RF value. Then this A glycone, after the hydrolysis of sugar, we will run in on TLC, and we will compare with other known authentic sample of quercetin, camphorol, apaginine, pectolinoleucine, different type of flavone A glycones, because these are all known samples are available in the library. And once their comparison is with our value is same, it means that this particular non-sugar A glycone flavone is quercetin. Once it is confirmed that it is quercetin, then after comparing with this, then we will proceed towards, that is, spectral studies. And for spectral studies, we have UV, ultraviolet, infrared, NMR, and mass spectra. And all these spectroscopic techniques I have already discussed separately in the chapter, the spectroscopic techniques, and in that I have taken the example of flavone nucleus. So those students who are interested or researchers to understand exactly all spectral studies, they can go to those spectral studies. So with this, how it is, the structures are elucidated, And if it is known on the basis of UV, we will detect the functional group. On the basis of IR, by staging frequency, we will know. On the basis of C13 and HNMR, we will know the carbon skeleton. So in this case, it will be concluded and structure will be characterized and elucidated that this is the A glycol, this is the sugar, and together this is quercetin glycoside. So I have already discussed how to elucidate the structure of glycosides, more specifically that is flavone glycoside, and crystallization is very important to understand. And for crystallization, most of the flavonal glycosides, it is very difficult to get crystallized even if they are pure at room temperature. And then the selection of polarity of solvent where we are trying crystallization is very important. If the flavone molecule glycoside, they are polar, and if it is dissolved in more polar solvents, the crystallization will be very, very difficult. So you go on increasing, it is just hit and trial to add few drop of non-polar solvents. Like if you are trying crystallization in methanol, and after putting at room temperature, it is not crystallized. Then you add few drop of chloroform or few drop of benzene or few drop of petroleum ether, so that there is chance. Again, if there is no crystallization, then you are expecting it is quercetin. If you have the authentic sample, put some one crystal in that, so that crystal will help in crystallization, that will provide the nucleus for other quercetin molecule to come and join and crystallize. And again, if there is no crystallization, then you have to go to decrease drastically its temperature. For example, your room temperature is 25 degrees centigrade, then you have to put in a refrigerator in lower side where the temperature is 5 degrees. If it is not crystallized, then take it to that portion where temperature is almost 0 degree. So in this way, the crystallization is with the help of fractionating in different polar solvents and also managing different temperatures. It goes from 25 to 0 degree, and also you will go on reducing the volume so that the crystal should appear. That is about crystallization. So now the structure elucidation of the glycosides consists in the identification of A glycol. All this I have already discussed. First thing, once you are object, your aim is to elucidate the structure of glycoside. First you have to separate into sugar and A glycol, means sugar and non-sugar part, by with the help of hydrolysis with 7% or 14% sulfuric acid, A glycol and sugar parts, and establishing their linkage. You have to establish the linkage at what position the sugar is linked. In the identification of plant constituents, once it has been extracted, isolated, purified, then it is necessary first to determine the class of compounds. That I have already told you that you have done the extraction. After extraction, I have already told you to go and check with color reaction. All color reaction, phenolic and flavone is positive. Then you are clear that this extract is rich in flavone glycoside. So that is also a very important. You should know the class of compounds, and in that class of compound again in that class of compound means it is flavone, and flavone may be quercetin, may be camphorol, may be epigenin, may be pectorinadigenin, may be agathis flavone. So there are dozens of different type of phenols in that class. So in that class, then you have to again classify compounds, and then to find out which particular substances it is within the class, because its homogeneity, because these phenolides, they are so much homogeneous in their solubility that there may be 5, 6 or 10 or 12. The same type of phenol nucleus, benzopyrene nucleus, will be together, and it is not possible to separate them unless we go for chromatographic examination with the help of their RF values, with different RF values, because those benzopyrene nucleus, their atomic mass differ in terms of their functional groups, means someone is having hydroxy group, someone are having methoxy group, someone are having acetate group, someone is having glucose linkage, someone is having rhamnose linkage, someone is having xylose linkage. So with all those different components of sugar and A-glycol, hydroxy, methoxy, and different grouping, their molecular weight and mass will differ. On that basis of chromatographic RF value, rate of flow, ratio, we can separate them out. So that is where we can find out homogeneity. That's why up to 1950, most of these antioxidants, that is phenol glycosides, they were not purified. And even when they claim on the basis of degradation, reaction, or on the basis of synthesis, but still they were not 100% authentic. They were tentatively, structures were established. So only when the chromatographic technique was advanced, then we could separate them in single spot. Must be checked carefully beforehand. For example, on chromatographic examination, it must have single spot. That is what I have already told you. After getting those purified phenol is purified, but still that phenol is the mixture of so many. So on the basis of that, you have to run the chromatographic technique, examination, and then you have to separate them. And after separation, you have to recheck again and again that it must give single spot on thin layer chromatography plate, must have single spot. Graphic examination, it must have single spot. On thin layer chromatography, that is TLC. The color reactions generally are helpful in broad classification of the compounds. What color reaction we have done? That with alcoholic ferric chloride, with magnesium hydrochloric acid, red color and blue color, they are giving the information that this class of compound is phenol. That's all. Is having phenol, benzopyrene skeleton, but lot of different type it cannot give. So at least we will be having all these informations on the basis of color reaction. Are helpful in broad classification of the compounds, solubility and crystallization of pure compound. This is also on the basis of solubility, because all the glycosides, they are soluble in polar solvent. If it is other compound, they will not be soluble in polar solvent. Like some A-glycones, they are not soluble in polar solvent, they are not soluble in alcohol, they are not soluble in water. So the solubility and crystallization is also one of the important indications. Spectral characteristics are very important tool for the structure determination. Now, after doing all this, we have spectral studies, physical method, on the basis of ultraviolet, on the basis of infrared, on the basis of nuclear magnetic resonance, that is called NMR, on the basis of C13 isotopic MR, on the basis of mass spectra. All spectral studies will locate each and every carbon skeleton, every functional group, all will be clear. So, for the structure determination, a known compound can easily be identified on the basis of all these spectral studies I have already told you, IR, UV, NMR, etc. And the sample should be carried out for final confirmation. For new compounds, the above data are helpful in order to confirm the identification through chemical degradation and synthesis. So for known one, all these spectral studies are enough to establish. If in case it is unknown, then what we are doing, for example, if it is in chemistry department, we are those who are expert in spectral study, we will sit together and we will calculate and we will submit our calculation. On the basis of that, we will reach to conclusion that this particular fluoronucleus at 7 position is hydroxy group, at 3 position is sugar, at 6 position is this. So in that case, we will construct the molecule and then we will declare that it is a novel fluorine glycoside has been isolated from that particular plant. So with this I will stop. Thank you very much for watching the lecture, and let me tell you that those who are involved in antioxidant, anti-inflammatory fluoronoidal glycosides to isolate, to identify, you are all advised to go to my research papers. There are some new compounds structures are established on the basis of spectral studies, and all the methodology is given. So it will help you a lot. And for pharmacy students, they should learn how to do the phytochemical screening in the lab. Thank you very much for watching the lecture.